Okay, guys, so ATEC Reviews here, recording from two videos simultaneously at the same time. Looking at this very nice fish, 60 frames per second, and you can get an idea about, small idea about the video quality and the mic quality at the same time. Um, it's very reflective in one of the phones. Hmm. Okay, guys, so ATEC Reviews here, recording from two videos simultaneously at the same time. Looking at this very nice fish, 60 frames per second, and you can get an idea about, small idea about the video quality and the mic quality at the same time. It's very reflective in one of the phones. Hmm. Yes, yes, sir. That's what I'm doing right now.
Hi, welcome back. This is A from ATEC Reviews. For the time being, I cannot post pictures because I do not have 1,000 subscribers. So if you do subscribe, I will greatly appreciate that. So for the time being, we have to look at these pictures that I took, and maybe they will give you an idea about the camera quality. You can see the colors here. The weather was a bit cloudy that day, so maybe the colors are not that sharp or there's not enough daylight, but you can see, you can have an idea. If you look at the greens and the trees and the floor, especially in this photo, you can see like an over sharpening effect going on. I did notice that, and you will notice that this is a picture with the normal lens 1x, and this is the picture now with the wide camera lens. You can see how the colors are a bit washed out. There is a bit more distortion. This picture is the best picture I took with the phone. Out of 300 pictures, this one is the best. Followed by this picture. There was a bit of daylight. It was under the shadows. This is me sitting indoors with lights above me. That's why this picture is a bit better. This is a building near my friend's place, where you can see that view from the top. This is the wide angle view. It's much worse than the better one, which is the normal angle. This is the view from the bottom. This is me below looking up. And this is the wide angle camera. Again, it's much lower quality than the main camera. The main camera is much better. This is my phone. I just wanted to show that just for comparison, to give you an idea. This is the difference between, like, one of a quality phone, a flagship, and a normal phone. You can decide for yourself whether the difference is big or not. This is a normal fish view, and this is the normal phone that I use. This is the view. This is Taco Bell. I love tacos. This is the picture at night. You can see it's not that bad, especially here. These are not the night cameras, as I think the night cameras has a lot of distortion. So anyway, this is some specs for you guys. In case someone asks me, this is what you get in the about screen. This is the CPU and the chipset with the information GPU. This is the Android system itself, the Google Play Services version, which you can see the kernel, and you can see the display. It supports HDR 10 plus and the DPI and the resolution. This is the specs of the Bluetooth. Some people ask about the latency. There you have it, the audio support and the codecs that are natively supported for hardware acceleration. This is the hardware, the Wi-Fi supports it, and this is the benchmark of 3D Mark. You install that app and compare it yourself. This is also Geekbench. You can install that app and compare the score with other phones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The question is, which one of them sounds the best? That's a question we will try and answer today. Welcome back, folks. I'm A from ATEC Reviews, and today we'll be reviewing the sound quality aspect of the Moondrop MIAD01 phone. It holds a lot of potential, and I want to answer all your questions. Before I begin, if you enjoy this content and if you find it useful, please hit that like button and subscribe button. It helps the channel, and in turns allows me to help you more. Now, the style of this video is going to be like this. We'll begin talking about the sound quality aspects of this phone. I'll divide them into speakers, and then we will go into the wired option, like the 3.5, 4.4, and I will mention the Bluetooth for a short period. And then we begin comparing this phone to something like dongles. Is it better to use dongles? What are the differences that you're going to get when you use a dongle versus using the phone? Another thing is I'll compare this phone with these DAPs, including something like the BTR7 and maybe something even like the portable amps like topping and so on. So that's something we'll get into. We'll measure it. We'll see how it measures. We'll see the power level. We'll compare the power. We'll see how it drives earphones, how it drives headphones. I don't want to talk a lot and keep ranting, so let's get started. All right, let's look at the phone here for a second. First thing that grabs your attention when you look at a phone like this is an audio phone, right? This is intended for use for audio. Now, it's surprising that it only has 3 buttons. Like for example, if you look here, this is the Hiby R4, an excellent $249 DAP. It has like a few distinguishing features that let you understand the difference between a music player and a phone or any portable device. You get something like volume, rocker buttons on the left, and then you get the button that goes to the previous song, a button that pauses and plays the music, and a button that goes to the next song, along with the power button. And you even get a nice little feature that like this lock button that stops the functioning of all the buttons except the power button, so that if you put it in your pocket, you're not annoyed. Like if you press like this, it doesn't respond, the music doesn't play. So it's surprising that for a phone like this, like if it had more buttons, I'm sure it would have been more practical and more useful. So that is something else. Another thing which I notice here is that there's no music player from Moondrop itself. At least that I know of. There is a stock player here. It's called Music. I'm not sure. Maybe this is the Moondrop Music. It doesn't have any features except the sound effect, which I'm sure probably no one will use because it makes the sound worse, lowers the volume, and it doesn't sound good. It's not your EQ. It's like very mainstream and not high quality. It's just surprising. Like you see with FiiO, they have the FiiO Music App. You see the Hiby, they have the Hiby Music App. I'm not sure what channeling or IBESO use, but it seems that Moondrop went with the way of the Hiby Music App, which is awesome anyway. And honestly, I'm not sure if they will add something, if they could add something that's not available in the Hiby Music App. If you don't have it on your smartphone, I highly recommend it. It's an excellent, bit perfect, capable music player. Which brings me to the next step, which is like, I don't know if this phone is playing anything with Android resampling going on or not. Like, for example, take DAPs like this one. When you play any music, like if I play like this, there is a light that changes color that lets me know what type of music I'm listening to. And if I click here, you can see at the top the sample rate I'm listening to. This is not a new feature. It's not revolutionary or anything like that. You can see even dongles have a way of coding like color-coded sample rates, so that you look at the color, you understand the sample rate you're listening to, you get the confirmation of what's going on. So is this going on here? I'm not sure. And if any of you guys are going to install custom ROMs, just keep in mind that this is something that's there. So that's just something I wanted to mention. It would be awesome if we have any indicator like light or color or anything that would make me know, hey, this is the sample rate I'm using, right? This is the DSD, it's okay, it's not resampled. So anyway, it sounds great without all of that, don't worry about it, but I just wanted to mention that. So another thing is that's missing is, for example, the gain switch, to switch the gain levels. For example, in this like very, very simple DAP. This video is about the Moondrop, but I'm just comparing in a way. In depth, I will do it later, between the DAPs and the phones. You get something easy here. You get the level high, low, mid, right? That's not here. So you're just using one gain. I presume it's unity gain, which is like 1x, but you get what you get. Another thing that's missing is filters. You cannot change the filters. Like on any DAP, and including dongles, you get the ability to change the filters. Moondrop's very own dongles give you that ability to do that. So here you don't get to change the filters, and I'm perfectly okay. That's not a big thing, but at least I would have liked and I preferred to know what kind of default filter is being used. That would have been nice. So that's just something small. Another thing I want to mention here is that there is no system-wide EQ. Now, when I talked about Bit Perfect, one of the benefits that you buy a DAP and pay money for it is that it disables the resampling that's going on with any app you're using, from Spotify to YouTube Music, just playing videos on your phone, even Netflix. You are extracting the maximum sound quality. A lot of programming and engineering goes to customize that Android system by the company itself, so that they remove any and all resampling from all the signal and audio pathways that's going on in your Android system, and then make sure that the system is stable and functioning correctly, and then adding an indicator so that you know what you're listening and so on. So that's not an easy feature. I'm not sure if Moondrop did that. I don't know, but I think like even a confirmation would have been helpful. So that's something. Another thing which DAPs have, many of them, is that they give you that system-wide EQ. Something like Hiby DAPs. FiiO has something like that, if I remember correctly. Hiby has 9 bands. FiiO, I can't remember how many they have, but it's okay. It's functioning. It's great. Parametric EQs are there. Hiby even adds like plugins and things like add the warmth to the sound and make it cold and increase the Soundstage and sound plugins and stuff that will impress you dramatically. And I have a video coming up specifically for this $250 DAP. Here in the Moondrop, we don't have that, which is surprising. The Hiby Music App has excellent support, and it gives you most of the features that the DAPs have, but it's limited only for the music player itself, the Hiby Music Player. And another thing is some functions are reserved for Hiby DAPs. Like you have to buy them to enjoy these functions. And let me tell you, these functions are great. If you want to know what they are, check out my upcoming video about it and you'll see. So what I want to say is it would have been good for Moondrop to include like some functions like system-wide EQ and like, for example, like any like virtual functions that you get, like crossfeed, maybe something like that, which have been awesome. Like imagine if you're watching YouTube and you can EQ your IEM to any target you like or to your preference even. That would have been like a rad feature in my opinion. To their defense, they mentioned they're coming up in a future update that will add DSP features. I'm not sure exactly what DSP features they will use. Like they mention only a few things. One of them is that you will have like a sound emulation feature that allows you to hear the sound of a famous tube lamp or valve bulb or whatever. I'm not sure exactly why would anyone use IEMs and listen to tubes sound. Like IEMs usually are not that great with tubes, especially BA IEMs. And planars as well, and especially electrostatic. You only have hope with your dynamics, and especially if they're single. But they say that, so anyway, like this is something I want to mention. Another thing which they say is that it will have spatial audio features, which is awesome. Like it will allow you to like something like 360 audio or like something similar to Dolby Atmos or something with a sense of wide soundstage and width. This will be awesome. If correctly implemented and they add computational spatial audio, that will be awesome. that will be a win in my book and worth the phone, worth its money, and it will be really good. But until now, until this moment, there's no these features. I checked the update, it's not there. I even downloaded the Moondrop Link app, and the phone is not even added on the list, so there are no features as of this moment. I hope they will be added later, but there is what it is. Another thing they mentioned is they will add something, not like EQ, they didn't mention that, but they said they will add something that will allow you to tune mini IEMs or headphones to the Moondrop target, which is like VDSF plus, something like virtual diffuse field. It's a welcome feature. I just hope these features are available soon so that we can try them and review them and experiment with them. That will be nice. So these are a few of the things that we don't get. This video is not always like that. There's a lot of good stuff coming, so don't feel like underwhelmed or anything like that. Let's see the volume here. The volume here, you get these buttons, and it's divided in two ways. If you use the speaker, the volume steps is just 15 steps. All right. But if you use the DAC chip to use the 4.4 or the 3.5 output, you get 100 steps. Now, these 100 steps are obviously controlled by the digital attenuation in the DAC chip itself. And these DAC chips are 32 bits, which means that you can comfortably lower your volume as much like as 50% and get minimal to no loss in resolution and dynamic range. The chip has a very high dynamic range, according to Moondrop, 130 decibels A-weight average, which is incredible. So if you use like decrease like from 100 to 50, you're not losing a lot. Keep in mind, especially if you use 16-bit files or you watch YouTube or video shows or whatever, you're not losing a lot. So that is something. Obviously, the best way to do it is, of course, to attenuate the volume using something like an analog pot after the digital to analog conversion, but this is extremely expensive and rarely done in portable players. So that's something. What I will say, which is practical, is I wish when I click like this that I saw a number indicator. And there are apps you can download to use that could change that for you. But again, the question is, will be any resampling done? Will the volume control be done from the DAC chip also? Will these apps affect that? I'm not sure. What I would say though, if you look like, for example, most DAPs, if you click here and press up or down, you kind of see this number and it goes down single digit, right? Until the max. So that's definitely interesting. But when I click here, the slider, I'm not like, for example, if I'm listening to music, do you know which level am I listening at? No. So the good news is that this is an easy to add feature which Moondrop could add in an update if enough guys ask for it. I wish they do. I think that's important. This is one of the distinguishing features between a dongle and a phone, is that you could see the volume. Now, let me talk a moment now about the speaker. I promise you this is the last thing that you will not like. I will say it simply. You have a simple speaker downwards here, which is very basic, and you get speaker on the top. This one is very low and it doesn't have like an impact or an effect when this one is working. Honestly, it's very low volume. Both speakers, in my personal opinion, like don't sound good. They are below average. Like I would describe it as that. Like even if you pay this price for any current mainstream phone, it is below average. The speaker like is not clear. It's not muddy or anything. It's just loud and it seems to sound like sometimes a bit distorted or overdriven. And I think Moondrop understood the capabilities of this, and it's not intended to be a good speaker, because if you look at the ringtones and the notification sounds that are included here, you'll find they're all polyphonic ringtones. Now, polyphonic ringtones are not something that is like high res or anything. They are usually 8-bit or lower, very simple notes and sine waves that tend to give you just signal that the speaker is able to reproduce easily and loudly without distorting badly. I will show you how the speaker sounds. Let's take a copyright-free music, which YouTube will allow us to hear. I will max out the volume. Believe me, there's no quality improvement if I lower or if I max out the volume. Obviously, you're listening from this recorded by me, so it's not the same level of experience, but I will give you a sound demo, a small sound demo, so that you can judge for yourself. So that's the first song. You can listen to this other one and judge for yourself. This is sound demo number 2. So this is like the sound demo. Anyway, maybe you find that good. It's certainly not bad or anything like that. It's not like horrible and no, but it's not impressive. And I think like much more could have been done. When I look at these DAPs, I've always like asked myself, why can't they just put any small speaker? Like it's crazy to pay these prices for DAPs like that and not have a camera and not even have a SIM card or even just a small bit of a speaker. Sometimes I don't want to listen to music. I just want to hear what's in the video or just know what track is that, So it seems Moondrop responded and like I said, hey, you're welcome. It's not good, but it works. That's how we would describe the speaker. So anyway, it's fully functional. Not like the competition, but it does the job perfectly. I didn't like it when I'm like watching videos or something, or maybe because that dramatic difference and contrast between like really the wired 3.5 and 4.4 sound quality and the speaker. It's like day and night. Now, in terms of the sound of the 3.5 and 4.4, I have to tell you, I've listened to it with around 30 IEMs. From IEMs that cost like over 2,000, to my beautiful Glacier, which is my microscope for the audio world, to Blessing 2 and Kato and headphones and so on. So before I speak about the sound quality, I want to reply for someone who asked me about DSD. And I'll say I tried DSD 128, 256, and 512 DSD. And it works. Again, I'm not sure if there's any downsampling going on behind the scenes, but it worked with the Hiby Music player. The volume was a bit different. For example, when I listened to flat files, out of 100, I counted the steps, and my usual listening with the Moondrop Kato is at 60. 60, I feel I get enough loudness, I'm enjoying myself, I'm listening to the details of the track. 65 is loud. like loud. 70 is like I'm not enjoying it and I'm uncomfortable. 70 steps out of 100, I'm uncomfortable. I cannot listen. So 80, don't do that, but 80 for 1 second or two, it is painful. Like 80 gets into the level of painful. This is with the Moondrop Kato. Other IEMs will depend on the power, of course, but it can drive most IEMs really well. From the 10P1, which is notoriously hard to drive, to the FiiO Monarch MK3, to the timeless 7Hz, the 7 Z12 Planars, the Shaw's EP20, the F1 Pro, like SA6, like what else? Like even like Sennheiser IE600, IE900, Mest Mark III, Legion Diva, a full Performer 5 and Performer 8. Everything is like super easy to drive, super smooth. The Glacier sings with it, all right? So this is from the pairing, and I will talk about what IEM, how it responds, each one of them. But I want you to know that it can drive most of these IEMs in a very good level. Now, someone will ask me to describe the sound. How does it sound? That is the main question here. I think the sound, if I could describe it in a few words, I will say it like that. Extremely, extremely detail-oriented sound signature that is super detailed, a bit flat, but leaning slightly on the cold and bright side of things. Now, let me explain what I mean by that. I mean, you listen to this and you're hearing every single ounce of detail in the music. It is kind of similar to like THX amps, but without the bass and so on. The bass is a bit like not impactful. And I say that because I compared it to other DAPs, to other like portable amplifiers, and even like dongles and stuff like that. I noticed the bass is different and the treble is different. Like the treble here is so good, so detailed, but never harsh. But you hear everything with a sense of realism. The best thing about it is the instrument separation and the clarity. It's insane. It's insane. Like if you want me to describe it to you, it's like a sushi chef gets your music and he takes out his knife and he cuts everything. I'm serious. It's like, that's what it feels like. He cuts everything into separate pieces and he gives it to you on a platter. And he's like, yeah, there you go. The guitar is separated. The bass guitar is separated. The drums are separated. The vocals are separated. Two people are speaking. Every one of them is separated. Anything on your right side, left side, everything is super separated. You get that sense of instrument clarity. This device, the sound signature of the device could be described as clear, clean, pure. That's what I get from it. Vocals sound very clean, very natural. The only thing I wish is that the bass could have a bit more impact. The bass is detailed, it's textured, and everything is just... It doesn't have that, you know, that impact you get, the thumpiness aspect of it. This is also very seen when you compare it to other DAPs. There, a noticeable difference. At the same time, the clarity is insane. Like, I can't tell you how much clear it is. It is like superb, very, very detail-oriented device, which is kind of awesome. Like, don't think that a device will be like detailed, it's like clinical or analytical or anything like that. No, absolutely not. This allows your music to shine through. You know, I don't believe that like what the artist intended or anything like that, but I believe like something neutral like that, you can play with it if you like, without any distortion. If you want to use EQ, man, it will be done wonderfully. The bass could be added with EQ. And that's why I said, like, I wish Moondrop will add system-wide EQ, because if you can adjust the bass and the sub-bass, it will be awesome. There is a lot of bass here. There is a detail. When the song has bass, there is detail, there is texture, there is speed. The bass is so fast. But as I tested it with dynamic drivers and planar drivers, I noticed that even something like so simple like this FiiO BTR7 offers a lot more bass impact and power. That's how I describe it. Device is very powerful from the 4.4. I find it a bit strange that Moondrop didn't mention the DAC chip used. This is also something I want to touch upon quickly. Like, we have this phone here and we have the details of the chip and everything, and we don't get the name of that chip. I mean, it's not something bad. Like, why not say? I'm not sure. I will tell you, it is. They say it's Master Hi-Fi from Cirrus Logic, and that's a few DAC chips. The best of them is like the 43198, and I think this has that. I have no proof. Nothing is shown in the operating system. I even like went and used the PC and tried to find the ADB stats of this phone. Nothing is mentioned. But I will say that people will forget that Moondrop had a dongle, which is the Moonriver 2 Ti. And like, I tested the harmonics of this device, the distortion level. Like, I had this device from wonderful guy called Ivan. This is the Iwanda. I have this connected to an audio interface, and I measured the distortion, and I have the Moonriver 2 Ti. I don't know what to say. Like, it seems very similar, but this device has a few decibels better or lower distortion. For example, here my levels of distortion, which I measured, I'm not in a lab, so don't quote me on it, ranged from 113.14 to 118 without a weighing. So these are the numbers I got. And for the power output, I only have a resistive load of 300 ohms. So I tested that. From the balance, it's like 50 ohms or 53 ohms. That's the 53 milliwatts, excuse me, at 300 ohms. For the 32 ohms, I don't have a resistive load to do that, but I tested the voltage output, and I calculate that if we go by calculation, you get something like 250 milliwatts to 280. Now, I say between because there's a small amount of difference because of the battery and the voltage drop that could occur from something like that when used with 32 ohms. But it is in that range. Now, that's kind of like interesting, right? Because the distortion pattern, the harmonic pattern, the dynamic range, the power output is almost exactly the Moonriver 2 Ti. But when I listen to them side by side, this phone is much better still. It is more resolving. It has better clarity. It has better separation and all of that stuff. So what exactly is going on? I'm not sure. I really don't know. I can't tell you. So maybe Moondrop will tell us in the future what is going on here. Other than that, I want to mention when used with headphones, I had to wait a bit because I didn't have a single-ended cable for the HD6XX. So I got the single-ended cable, and I will let you listen for yourself. Does it drive it from the single-ended output? Because I don't have like a 4.4 cable for it or an adapter. I only have XLR. Does it drive it? Yeah, it drives it. Does it drive it well? From the single-ended, I would say no. Like, it drives it okay. Let's say okay. It drives it okay, but it's not the headphones full potential. Not even close. The bass is missing. The impact I get from it is missing, and some of the imaging and soundstage suffers as a result. And you can hear that for yourself. Actually, I'm going to play a demo for you again, so you can listen here for yourself. This is the HD6XX. And let's see, this is the slider I was talking about. This is the max volume. So let's listen to the song and see what we have here. So obviously this is demo number 1, and it's not very impressive, you could say. It's a bit low. keep in mind this is the single-ended and this is a 300 ohm headphone. Now let's listen to something else, because if the music is compressed in a way, the music will sound louder and could give you a better idea. So as you can see, it sounds very good with this track. As I say, this will depend on the track you're using, so keep that in mind. Now, when we get to something like an IEM, I also want to test that quickly. Like this is the Kato. It's not nice to use high volume; it could damage the IEMs. But for just a few seconds, I want you to hear like how it sounds like. Now this is from an IEM, like the sound you heard right now, so that is something to keep in mind. A few things else I want to say quickly. DSD files sound low, as I said, and there is no something called DSD Gain Compensation. So DSD files will sound lower in volume, but they're okay. Now, like I want to say that I've used this with videos, as I said, with music, with TV shows, and with podcasts, and I consumed a variety of media from different sources. And I think it's a great phone for doing that when used wired. If you listen to a lot of music or watch video shows or something like that, it's pretty awesome. Like, it's pretty lightweight and the experience is wonderful and the music is great with most IEMs. The power output is of a dongle level, which now I'm going to get into the part of the video where I will be comparing it quickly to some dongles. Now, when we listen to this and compare it to dongles like the Moonriver 2 Ti, let's say we have what we have here. Like we have like THX Onyx, for example. We have like this Iwanda DAP, which is pretty nice, and we have our very own FiiO BTR7. What is the difference when I use this and when I use that? I will be very plain and simple. If you have a Moonriver 2 Ti, you achieve 90% of the sound this offers from a sound quality perspective, not from a power output. From a power output, you achieve 100%. Okay, this has a power of a dongle. It's not an amplifier. Now, what does that mean? Like, does that mean that you're almost there with dongles? Yeah, actually, yeah. The difference is just the separation and the clarity that you get with the phone. It has that a bit more detail retrieval and resolving ability. Now, the closest sound I have to it is the THX Onyx. That's the closest sound I have for it. This is single-ended, obviously. It doesn't have that. This one is a bit more sharp in a way and a bit more detailed, you could say that, but it's just incisive and the bass is different. The FiiO here has a similar sound, but the phone is much better in the level of detail retrieval, imaging, and soundstage. Soundstage is pretty wide for this phone. Imaging is very, very clear and one of the best you will ever hear on a portable device. Like, you can hear the sounds Not only here, you can hear it when it's here. You can go diagonally and feel the difference. Now, the FiiO here, in my experiment with loudness and measuring the loud output of earphones and headphones, single-ended and balanced, has like 10 to 20% more power than the phone, right? It gets a bit louder, but it doesn't have the detail of the Moondrop phone. The real benefit of the FiiO also is in the bass. The bass on the FiiO, every single time I listen to music like EDM, I compare them. It is much, much, much better on the FiiO, but the sound is much more detailed on the Moondrop. As I said, it's leaning toward a brighter, more cold, detail-oriented sound signature. Now, that is the difference with these DAPs. This is another topic I will get into now. Let's remove this one. And before I move, just quickly, if you compare it to something like the G5, which one sounds better? Definitely the G5. Like, there is no comparison. Like, just something to say. Listen to them carefully. Like, the G5 is a powerful device. Like, this one can drive the Sennheiser to very, very high volume. And it can drive them well on high gain. It doesn't have balanced, but it has two dual ESS DAC chips, and it has the NFCA, and it's like a different sound. The sound is much clearer and much more natural. Doesn't have that sharpness, and the amplification is its like standout feature and its sweet spot. So it's not fair to compare it. It's almost the price of this one. So that's just something to say. Now, when we compare it to these DAPs, all right, which one of them sounds better? Honestly, if you want the honest truth, the Moondrop sounds better than all of them. Yeah, and I'm gushing about this one. This one is my favorite. The new R4, it's a $240 DAP. And the Moondrop sounds better. Why? Like, it is just when I listen to them side by side and I compare them, it just has a lot more detail. I cannot shake that out of my head. It sounds very detailed, very clear, very clean. That when you compare it, you feel, oh man, I heard that here. I heard these vocals. I heard the treble, but it's not like here. Here's like a layer is removed, you know, that makes the sound shine, so to speak. That's how I would describe it. It is really wonderful. But there are differences, and I think I will mention them quickly so that you can see what you get here. When you buy a DAP, as I said, you get the options quickly of different buttons. You can see each one of them has these buttons here, right? So they add a lot of features. They add a lot of functions. Another thing is you get the ability to change the gain or change the filters or have system-wide EQ, have guaranteed bit perfect output. Some of them have DSP, some of them have plugins and features that are not available in the Moondrop phone. Like Hiby adds a lot of interesting features, which I will explore in my video. But you can see, like when you go to the Hiby, for example, and if you go to the settings, and there is a part here that's called audio settings. This is a specific part. And you can see the differences here. You can change the filter, you can change the gain, you can change the plugins, you can change MSEP, PEQ, DSD gain, channel balance, max volume, MQA decoding, SPDIF. That is something you have to keep in mind. Another thing is USB. You can use your DAP as a DAC. You can use it as audio in, audio in. That function is not available in the Moondrop phone. You get the sample rate. If I click here and I play this music, and I go to the Hiby app, and if I press play, I get a sample rate above that proves to me, lets me know the music I'm using, or if the phone is like turned off and I click here, it gives me, excuse me, if I click here, it gives me a light indicating to me the sample rate I'm using. So that is a nice feature. These things, you don't get them with the phone. They're not deal breakers, of course, but they are what they are. The benefit of Moondrop is it sounds better. The phone is much lighter than any of these things. DAPs also have Bluetooth codecs. Moondrop only have the SBC, AAC, and LDAC, so you get the other choices with new DAPs, but you don't get it here. The Moondrop phone is faster, much faster, much faster, honestly, than all of these DAPs. Something to keep in mind. These DAPs come with Google support. This is something you have to kind of understand. Another thing is these DAPs come with line outputs. This is a function that you don't find in the Moondrop phone. For example, if we look at this Hiby R6 Mark III, you can see that we have the balanced and power output single-ended on the right side. Then we get the line out, and we get a balanced line out. So you can use it to connect to an amp. So this makes the DAP a bit more optimized for music, right? It has like line outs, it has like system-wide bit perfect, system-wide EQ, system-wide features and functions. It has more Bluetooth codecs. It has extra buttons for functions, and you can use as a PC DAC or amp. Like that is a lot of good features, you know, controlling the volume. You can see it visually. Like all these things are great. Another benefit is you can get a better DAC chip. Even at the same price, you can get a better DAC chip. Better sound, not necessarily. We have to try, so you have to experiment. Another benefit is you get much more power output. So that is something that you have to keep in mind. These are the differences. I don't think there is a winner or a loser here. It's just different, depends on what you want. So that's it, guys. That's it. That's what I wanted to say about this phone. It's excellent. I recommend you try it. If you're looking for a phone that you just listen to music and you just play a few basic games, browse the web, watch a few videos, and you don't care about Netflix in HD and stuff like that, it is something I recommend. Yeah, the sound quality is the winning aspect. It's the best aspect of this phone. Anything else you can find in better phones. The only really good aspect of it, to be honest, is the sound quality, which is awesome. Power output is okay, and it's good for IEMs. It's more than sufficient, more than plenty for headphones. As I said, maybe you would want to do more, or you might want to take advantage of lower ohm impedance headphones and focus on the balanced output. Do I recommend it? As I said, if you know these functions, if you want them, it's great. Keep in mind the Google situation I explained in the previous video, which means that if you want some Google functions, you have to install the GMS by yourself, or maybe Moondrop will include it in future update. Like sound quality wise is better than the DAPs. The DAPs have more functionality. I will continue using it. I will keep using it. I will keep using it and tell you guys if there's anything I encounter in the future. Apologize if this video is long. That's the way I do it. I'm tired. I'm a bit tired, honestly, so I'm a bit slow. I hope I answered all of your questions. If you still have other questions, let me know in the comment below. That's the final verdict. An excellent DAP and an okay phone that's better sounding than most DAPs. So this is A-Tech Reviews, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe and give it a thumbs up if you like this video. And subscribe for more content. That's it. I'm done. I'm out. Until then, see you next time. Peace. Bye.